Hi guys. Excuse my face. I'm red because I've been crying and I think I have a little sunburn as well from yesterday where I walked like 2 hours in the sun straight. Um there is intense stuff going on currently energetically in terms of, I think it has to do with the full moon in Scorpio. I'm a Scorpio sun, and I already felt the Aries new moon quite strongly because I have my North Node in Aries as well. And I felt a strong urge to break out and to break through and to I don't know, like jump or fly or escape or rebel. I have this really strong pull currently towards releasing things and breaking out. So there's this time in our lives sometimes when we cared a lot for a really long time, especially as empath, when we have little to no boundaries and we're really affected by people around us, our family and our colleagues, or our environment and their opinion about us. And there is a time when we have to let that go, but it's because of how we've been programmed a lot of times and what we experienced past lives, the empath, the light workers, the highly sensitives, or the supernova souls, right? Because of what we've experienced and how we were traumatized basically by others, through our experience, it feels like this huge massive burden to release ourselves from that, to break free. And it feels like the closer we come to breaking through, it feels like, yes, I'm very close to the breakthrough, and the lower matrix is pulling us back whenever we're really close to a breakthrough. And it's incredibly frustrating, obviously, and it's heavy, and it's confusing because a lot of times we came really close and things felt really light, and then we get pulled back into considering everyone else's opinion about what's considered proper and what we should be doing, and we consider everyone else's opinion but our own, and it's incredibly painful and frustrating and annoying. And there comes a time, I think, in life when we can't continue. And I think a lot of empath, a lot of sensitive souls have been there many times and have been pulled back. But I truly think we keep coming closer to breaking out of that matrix, because the collective consciousness is rising and people are awakening, and that supports the collective, right? That supports the collective energies as well. Um and there comes a time when you cared so much for so long, and it was so hard and training and exhausting for so long, that you at some point, it has to do with maturing, with growing up, with knowing your worth, with understanding your value, with also knowing how much you've been through, not only this lifetime, but so many lifetimes. And this also, this all of your journey, all of your history, all of your story is playing part in that, like is contributing to you breaking through and you breaking out of that lower matrix. And there comes a time when caring what everyone else was thinking and saying, and it's just not worth considering anymore. It's just not possible for the body, for your soul, for your mind, for your mental health to keep worrying or considering everyone else's opinion about you. And I think this is what feels like exhaustion, and what feels like giving up. And a lot of the time in the past, I would, when I've been with narcissistic partners, for example, and I've been so exhausted and I felt so anxious for a long time, and then in the end I just felt drained and tired and sad and exhausted and completely drained and completely depressed, but in a way that felt like giving up. And a lot of times my mind kicked in, like, you can't give up, you have to work harder, you have to fix and heal and rescue those people, and you have to work harder, and you have to be working yourself into being more lovable, and you have to make it work, and you have to work for harmony and work for love. And the thing about harmony is, like, if you're the only one working for harmony, or if you just work for harmony's sake, but the conditions are really shitty, because the other person is either treating you in a very poor manner, is toxic, narcissistic, you name it, whatever, you've probably experienced it. That's not harmony. Harmony is definitely a two-party job. Love and proper relationships are always a two-party job or a three-party job, or whoever's involved, right? And for the longest time, I thought it's my job and my job alone to make relationships work, to make people feel loved and healed and nourished and rescued and fixed. And for the longest times, it was me trying to love someone that much and heal them, and like let myself be the doormat, because I thought that would be a healing way to do, a healing way for them to find, oh, she's making herself small, that's so kind, she's so kind, and she's and it's like incredibly sick, you know. And how we try to work our way into worthiness and to wholeness. And the longest time I tried to heal and fix and rescue others in order for them to be healed and conscious enough and mindful and aware and actually available enough to be there for me. That's something I learned in childhood with sometimes unavailable family members. So there comes this time where you're just done with all of that, and that is a very, very, very beautiful time. And for a lot of us sensitive souls, it will feel like giving up. But what we're actually doing is we're surrendering and maybe giving in to what was way too hard to sustain, way too difficult to keep working on, way too stagnant, exhausting, draining, painful to keep entertaining in our life. And also being the one that entertains that, right? By letting people walk all over you, not setting boundaries, and trying to make it harmonious. I think often it's like a female thing as well, to think we have to bring harmony to every relationship, and if that's not the case, we are to blame or to judge. That was my issue for the longest time, believing I'm the only one needing to work for harmony. And as well, my biggest fear was always to make people uncomfortable by being authentically me, by setting boundaries, by it's a very it can be anything really. It was me maybe being talented in some things, or like you like being sporty, or loving to sing, or loving to write, or loving to travel, or loving dogs. And like I felt guilty for so many things that would make me me, and very unique and very beautiful as well, and sensitive and aware of my surroundings, me being highly intuitive and sensitive, me being like so connected to nature and earth. All these things, this is part of the past life trauma, why we were persecuted and chased and whatnot, were oftentimes our very intuitive abilities and gifts and talents. And us bringing love and peace to this earth by being highly aware of people's pain, and of maybe, having healing abilities and caring. I remember being a child and I felt guilty because I would be faced with certain people who would make me feel guilty for not eating meat, or rescuing the spider from the room, and people would look at me like, huh? And a group of people looking at us sometimes has this reminder of past lives where we maybe were judged by groups, rejected by groups, and there's so much sometimes uncovered which we haven't looked at, and it takes a lot of time sometimes to become aware of our fears, and we aren't even aware of a lot of fears, I feel sometimes, because I keep seeing new things, right? Not to discourage you or anything. All this healing work is so divine and so sacred. However, all those things that would make me me, I felt so guilty for the longest time. But the thing is, we can trigger anyone by anything if they have a unhealed resonance inside of them. You can trigger people if you're thin, if you're skinny, or if you're very muscular, or if you have a nicely shaped, sporty, fit body, and people are insecure because they haven't dealt with their own insecurities around their body. I'm so sorry, it's quite noisy. Motorcycles. And they haven't healed. They might have an eating disorder or just an unbalanced relationship to food. They are disconnected from their own bodies, and you can trigger everyone at any time by having a clear consciousness in that term. You can trigger people by eating meat, by not eating meat, by drinking, by not drinking, by not liking blue, by not liking red, by liking animals, by being intuitive, by being sensitive, by being a really good singer, by being a really good drawer. You can trigger them by speaking up, by speaking your truth, by fighting for what's right. Look around. Look around at all those really successful leaders. Look at Greta Thunberg. Look at people who fight for Black people's rights, for women. They all get threats because they are triggering anyone who hasn't dealt with their own demons yet. So no matter what you're doing, for a lot of people, you can't be small enough. And there comes a time when caring about everyone and anyone's opinion or mood swings around you, or talking to you, not talking to you, like becomes so exhausting and so draining and so not worth considering anymore. And that's when empaths a lot of times think they are giving up because they are failing. They are not loved and appreciated by everyone around them. Guess what? It's probably because of your power. It's probably because you're triggering people. It's probably because you've done so much work. It's probably because people are insecure about them. It's probably, and you know what? In the end, it doesn't matter why people are talking about you, gossiping about you, not liking you. It always comes back to their own stuff and them not dealing with it, but rather searching outside, because it's always more comfortable to talk negatively about others, to gossip, to just dump it on others, to manipulate others, to feel safe myself, to talk negatively constantly, so I'm at least distracted from my own BS, from my own misery, from my own sadness, from my own pain, from my own suffering, from my own demons. And you know what? Like, in the end, it always comes back to that it's truly not your issue. And miserable people will always find something. And maybe it's you, maybe it's something else. And there comes a time when worrying about everyone's opinion, tiptoeing around others constantly, trying to please everyone, trying to bring harmony to every relationship is not working any longer, because your soul doesn't want you to play small. Your soul wants you to be expressive and show all your skills and abilities. And if you focus on that as often as possible and truly learn to focus on self, and it's so hard sometimes because it can be so lonely sometimes. And of course we seek connection, and of course we seek love and friendship and community and company. But the closer we are to self, and the closer we are to expressing our truth and our talents and our what's important to us, the more likely we will attract a fitting match as well. So I hope that was helpful. Thank you for accepting my red crying face. But I think it's beautiful, you know? Like, I don't actually mind it. um have a beautiful day. I love you. Thank you so much. Bye.